Hello and welcome to this AnalyzerPro tutorial. In this tutorial we will look at the different possibilities of importing driving data in AnalyzerPro. The first step will be the import of digital tachograph data, DDD files for short. You will find this function under Modules, Import Driving Data, DDD Tachograph Data. In the module, you must load the DDD file in the first step. The file format should be .ddd or .v1b. There are two types of DDD files that can be imported, the M-type and the S-type. The M-type contains velocity data in 1 Hz format, the S-type velocity data in 4 Hz format. Once you have loaded the file, you can select whether you want to save the file additionally, in a text file. Otherwise the data is encrypted. Once the file has been loaded, you can select all available time periods in which trips were recorded from a drop-down menu. Please note that the time is in UTC format. The module window can be dragged to any size, and by scrolling the mouse wheel you can zoom in and out of the diagram. You select a specific area of the journey sequence by left-clicking to set the start time and left-clicking again to set the end time. If the area is highlighted in green, click on Transfer and all data will be transferred to the driving line. If an area is highlighted orange, the data for this area is not included in the calculation. This is because only a certain amount of data points can be used for the calculations. If you select Distance Transfer, the average values are calculated from the speed values, whereby a somewhat more exact path is mapped. If you do not select Distance Transfer, the exact values from the imported file are used for the distance mapping. If you click on Transfer, the data is transferred to the distance time data. As we can see, the values have been entered here. Alternatively, let's take a quick look at loading 4 Hz data. The loading process is completely the same here, but the resolution of the data is finer. The module window can be enlarged as desired, and you can zoom in and out of the diagram by scrolling the mouse wheel. If you draw a rectangle from top left to bottom right with the right mouse button pressed, the section is enlarged. By keeping the middle mouse button pressed, the section can be moved.
Secondly, let's explore the import of CDR data extracted from an EDR control unit or similar. Again, go to Modules, Import Driving Data, and this time select CDR Data. Now load a .dlcsv file that can be exported from Bosch software. You will automatically see a list of pre-crash and crash data present in this file. Here you can choose a pre-crash event. Under Tables, you have a more detailed view of various values. Under Charts, you can display different values accordingly, with each chart representing values with the same unit. In the visualization of the corresponding event, you can see the steering wheel's movement, speed display, and revolutions per minute. If the brake pedal is pressed, this area lights up in red. The accelerator pedal position is also displayed accordingly. Under CSV export, the data can be saved as a .csv file. After selecting an area here, you can click Transfer Steering Angle, then Transfer, and the data will be transferred to the distance time data. From version 24 onwards, you now have the option to manually enter data if, for example, you only have a PDF file available. To do this, click on Manual. Here, you can enter data at the bottom with a certain frequency, 2 Hz, 5 Hz, or 10 Hz. In our case, we choose 2 Hz and click on Create. Now we have our time values as well as other values such as speed, steering angle, accelerator pedal, engine revolutions, and brake on/off. These values can be entered. Once we are done, click on Save. These values will now be automatically used when I select the Use Manual Data checkbox. Alternatively, you can also copy an existing file that you have imported and then manually modify it. Otherwise, the use of manual data is exactly the same as using imported data. As a third step, we want to take a look at the import of GPS data, or the general data import of various measurement sensors. The data must be in CSV format from an Excel table. At the end of this chapter, this will be explained using an example. Navigate to Modules, click on Import Driving Data, and then select General GPS. When importing a CSV file, the left section indicates which data has been recorded. There is an option to select a specific area by double-clicking on two links. Green indicates that the data will be imported, orange means the data will not be imported. If Transfer Coordinates to Driving Line is selected, the coordinates from the CSV file are used to shape the driving line accordingly. If this option is not chosen, a straight driving line is the result. Clicking Transfer will display the data and the driving line accordingly. Now I will show an example of how an Excel table can look. It is a simple table with various values. If the import of a CSV file does not work, feel free to send it to us. As a fourth step, let's look at the import of GPX files, which can be created, for example, by sports watches. Under Modules, Import Driving Data, GPX Files, Sports Watch, you can import a GPX file. Two charts are displayed. The top one represents speed over time. Below, various areas can be selected in the left drop-down menu if they were recorded: cadence, heart rate, or temperature. Zooming into one chart will also zoom in at the same location on the other chart. Using the Transfer Coordinates to Driving Line option, you can choose whether the driving line should correspond to the GPX data or not. Dragging from the top left to the bottom right, with the left mouse button pressed, creates a rectangle, enlarging the section. There is an option to select a specific area by double-clicking, which will be highlighted in green. By clicking Transfer, the data is transferred to the driving line. If the option to transfer coordinates to the driving line was selected, the driving line corresponds to this data. Now we want to take a look at the import of GoPro data. GoPros in fact contain metadata that can be extracted. To do this, go to Modules, Import Driving Data, and then GoPro. Now, select the right file from the browser, a GoPro video. What we see now is that, on the one hand, we have all the values that were provided. It shows us the direct speeds, and we can also see this on a map. When we select an area, it is highlighted in color. Down here, you can also choose whether you want to display additional information. Moreover, you can copy the map, and you can export the data as a CSV file. You can transfer the coordinates to the driving line by clicking on Transfer. Then you have the driving data in kinematics. With that, I thank you for your attention and wish a lot of fun practicing.